Thank you.
We are delighted to have you here with us. It is also my pleasure to welcome our ever-dynamic Head Department of Commerce, Dr. Vijay Kumar R, for his constant guidance and support. We welcome you, sir. A special and heartfelt welcome to all the participants from various institutions who have joined us for this FDP. Lastly, I extend a warm welcome to our FDP convener, organizing committee, and all the dedicated faculty members of the Department of Commerce who have worked tirelessly to make this program a success. Now, I request Dr. Aarti Singh to introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath, to the gathering.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my immense pleasure to introduce you with the speaker of the day, Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath. Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath is presently working as a professor and principal in Bhimi Reddy Institute of Management Science, Adoni, Kurnool District, Andhra Pradesh. Sir has previously worked in Oxford College of Business Management, HSR Layout, SRN, Adarsh College, Chamarajpet, and Bangalore. He has worked with the companies like Indian Infoline, Thomson Reuters, and Access Build Zone. For 15 years, served in the education sector in various academic roles. Now, I would like to request Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath to take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am, Aarti ma'am, and Iba ma'am for introducing me. Once again, I have to thank Kristu Jayanti College for choosing me to discuss a fascinating and burning issue in the intelligent tutoring system. Especially nowadays, if we observe, a lot of technology integration is happening in the higher education. The role of the artificial intelligence, the mindsets of the students, modern teachers. If we integrate all these things, sometimes I used to wonder whether really we are living in the modern era with a lot of tools, technologies we are integrating in the traditional education system. But when it comes to the implementation and execution of the certain systems, always there will be a resistance. Sometimes awareness will not be there. Sometimes understanding the mindset of the student becomes very difficult for an academician. Okay, just give me 1 minute to share the screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. It's very old if we observe this tutoring system concept is not new. Early in the year 1642, if we observe the invention of the Pascal calculator for repeated exercises like because his father used to do repetitive calculations to help him in the calculations. He invented this Pascal's calculator, which basically performs two tasks. One is addition and subtraction. In 1920s, Pressey machine, Sydney Pressey created a mechanical teaching machine to instruct the students without a human teacher. See, if we observe from 1642 to 1980s, most of the tutoring systems were mechanical based. like we were having machines so that we can, academicians used to have these mechanical devices to teach the students. CAI, Algol Programming Language, which enabled to develop computer-assisted instruction. This is one particular development where we can observe, especially when it comes to development of the programming languages. That means we can observe the microcomputers revolution in this era. In 1980s, named as Plato, an educational terminal which is developed to display content, animation, and with the features like touch controls, that has delivered almost the major content of the curriculum. So it all started with the 1980s when we observe computer-assisted programmings. Computer-assisted programming models were developed because microcomputers were available at that particular time. And especially if you observe Apple, IBM, Microsoft, there was a revolution when it comes to the development of the tutoring system. But earlier we used to call computer-assisted tutoring system. 1980s, the major developments in terms of the intelligent tutoring systems that we can observe from the year 1980s to 2000. Major developments happened in this particular period, especially the Lisp tutor that implemented ITS principles. See, in 1980s, the developers started having certain principles like what is required for a tutoring system. So many developments were there, 1980s and 1990s. If we observe, we were having a packed tutor, especially in 1990s, which became very successful. Paracelsus created Carnegie Mellon University in 1989 for language instruction. If you browse through the Carnegie Mellon, you will find beautiful resources, especially related to the language learning. Yeah. Okay. So please mute your mic.
Yes.
Okay. In the 1990s, as I told you, it all started 1960s to 1980s. It was mechanical based. From 1990s, if you observe, due to the revolution in the computers manufacturing, microcomputers especially, computer-assisted tutoring systems were developed for the different purposes. So in 1990s, I can say that is a particular year where we can say the concept of intelligent tutoring tools developed by the Byzantium project. It is a project combined by the major universities as a project. They have taken this and they developed this intelligent tutoring tools. And in 1994, a very popular auto tutor project, especially using the natural language processing. Now we are using that in the AI, machine learning, NLP, neural learning, all those things that we are using in the advanced computer languages. In 1994 only, auto tutor was developed using natural process language. Alex, assessment and learning in the knowledge spaces launched as a commercial ITS, especially for the maths and science in 2001. using the knowledge-based theory to customize the content. So knowledge-based theory, when it comes to certain subject, because if you observe, all these intelligent tutoring tools were developed for a particular curriculum, particular subjects, and particular level of the students. Sim Student in 2008 was created, allowed IT systems to learn observing human tutoring sessions. See, like animations, most of the time if you observe animations based, user interface based systems were adopted in the Sim Student. Another successful intelligent tutoring system in the 2008. So if you observe 2010 and 2020, especially user-centric. Now, what we are talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence, generative AI, lot of developments we have seen. So I can say that why this timeline I discussed, we are still thinking about a tutoring system. You know, edX, I think in 1994, edX popularized this e-learning platforms. edX is the first commercial organization implemented these principles, ITS principles, intelligent tutoring system principles in their learning modules. That's why edX became very popular. Till now also, edX is one of the popular e-learning site for most of the students. Give me a second, let me share. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So today's sessions, I will be concentrating on understanding the basic structure of the intelligent tutoring system. So we will be exploring ITS advantages and barriers for adopting intelligent tutoring system, addressing the data-driven decisions within ITS and ethical considerations. Hands-on experience, it's very difficult because in the given time period, it becomes very difficult for hands-on experience, but I will be concentrating on how we can implement. Being an academician, we are the best in developing an intelligent tutoring system with all the components, whatever the components that we are going to discuss in the ITS, we can implement, and for any subject, we can implement that ITS. But being an academician, we are the best to choose what kind of content should be there, what kind of learning path, and what kind of pedagogy should be considered, and what kind of emotions the students will be having at the time of the learning, what kind of activities we can give at the time of the development of the tutoring system. So, in simple, we can understand ITS as a computer assisted that imitates human tutors and aims to provide immediate and customized instruction. If you observe, in 1960s and 1980s, the tutoring systems, what they have developed, what those tutoring model just like a practice sessions for the students. If I want to become perfect in maths, say arithmetic or some particular subject, I can perform different activities, or I can go with the different tests. Especially very long back, these tutoring tools were used to test the students, uh, to test the knowledge, measure the performance of the learner, and to give the feedback, especially whether you are strong in a particular aspect or you are weak in certain aspect. Because in 1984 2000, in that period, if you observe the tutoring tools, they used to give the feedback to the learners, and it used to suggest that you need to consider, again you have to take the retest for improving your performance. So all these things that we have observed. And then nowadays also we have certain intelligent tutoring systems which are very popular and successfully commercial organizations are running, but not in all the subjects, because we are teaching, say we are from the different backgrounds will be there, different curriculums will be there, different mindsets of the students. Considering all these things, I cannot guarantee that this particular tutoring system will help you to improve your knowledge and performance. So here, generally we say in the intelligent tutoring system, human intervention is not. Human intervention is not there. Without human intervention, the learner is learning about a particular curriculum. Learner is taking certain tests. Learner is performing some activities. Learner is getting feedback through the computer assisted models. But when we observe, see, we're all academicians. We will be having a question, because without the intervention of the human teacher, how we can develop a successful intelligent tutoring system? So when it comes to that, let us have some basic things in understanding, like the in the traditional tutoring system and in the intelligent tutoring system, there is slight difference is there. Why people are considering intelligent tutoring systems? Personalization. In the traditional tutoring system, especially in this aspect, what we are doing, we are just following a fixed curriculum what has been given by the university. But commercial intelligent tutoring systems, they are not like that. They understand the students' need. They understand the students' learning pace. Say, for example, one MCQ, say level 1, level 2, level 3 in the Bloom's taxonomy. Level 1 question is given, level 2 question is given, level 3 question is given. The student has not performed well in the level 1. Here ITS, what ITS is doing? ITS is giving some hints. ITS is asking the student to concentrate on this particular module or retake this particular lesson so that you can perform your test perfectly. But in the traditional system, in the traditional tutoring system, this is not happening. We are just following a fixed curriculum. When it comes to the adaptivity, here in the traditional tutoring system, we are following a static content. We are following a static content. When it comes to ITS, ITS is adaptive in nature. So automatically it adjusts to the student's needs. Suppose I am continuously I got 0 marks in 3 to 4 questions. So immediately what happens is this ITS will try to change the content which makes the user to answer. Level of difficulty when it comes to assessment, level of difficulty. Which level? Okay, the learner is not comfortable in the level 3. Okay, is not comfortable in the level 4. Like that we can identify. Content delivery. Basically here what is happening, how we are delivering the content. Primarily in the tutoring system, we are delivering lecture based. Content is delivered using the lecture based, but here in the ITS, what is happening? Interactive. We are interacting with the system. We are interacting in the environment where certain activities are simulated, certain exercises are simulated. If I want to measure the say, especially in the physics, I have seen a tutoring system. A small kid is coming and throwing a stone, and other student is asking, okay, you have thrown the stone, no? Can you tell me what is the distance it has flown, and what is the parabola of that distance? So interaction is there in the ITS. That's why the content, when it comes to the content, ITS content is interactive when compared to traditional tutoring system. And when it comes to the student model, here the traditional model, in the traditional model, what is happening? We are unable to track the students. We are unable to track the student knowledge, sometimes progress also. But in the ITS, knowledge is tested, progress is also measured, and it will be giving information to the learner. If you observe, if you have done any edX courses, you can understand the framework of the edX modules, like assessment, how they are measuring the progress, MCQs. Sometimes it will give you the hints. Sometimes it will give you other content. It will ask you that you have not given the right answer. Go through the certain module or lesson number. It will give. This is happening with the ITS. Pedagogical approach, here in the traditional tutoring system, pedagogical approach will be a single teaching method will be there. But here, when it comes to the ITS, we can adopt different kinds of teaching methods. It depends on the student. So we are creating the content based on the different teaching methods, and the student is choosing which method the learner is comfortable, that he is preferring. Scalability, when it comes to the scalability, often, especially in the traditional tutoring system, always human tutors are required. But in the modern ITS, see what is happening, you can enable large number of learners simultaneously. They can learn simultaneously, but it is not possible with the traditional tutoring system. Interactivity, when it comes to the interactivity, another important element. Interactivity will be very less. So interactivity will be very less in the traditional, because only some to make it more interesting. Sometimes we may ask the students certain questions, or sometimes we may ask, okay, what we have discussed, like that. But ITS is not like that. Interactivity will be more. Right? Learning environment. When it comes to the learning environment, again, the traditional tutoring system will be like the same way where what I say, like in the classroom only, like how the student facing classroom environment, no? The same way it will be there in the traditional tutoring, but in the intelligent tutoring system, sometimes as a teacher, I can go with the blended learning or blended environment, or sometimes I can go with the virtual, or sometimes I can go with the pre-recorded, or using certain animations. I can teach the learners. Cost efficiency. When it comes to the cost efficiency, if I want to tutor a learner one-to-one, the cost will be very high, even for the learner or even for the tutoring organizations. But when it comes to the ITS is not like that, because as larger scale, because we have enabled the ITS where in the large scale students or learners, they can participate and simultaneously they can use that. Feedback to educators. This is a very important aspect that here we are not getting, especially in the traditional tutoring system. Periodically we may take the feedback, but here ITS is giving you the real-time insights. Because suppose I have developed a course and I am delivering my course through the edX, and I can know about the various learners' insights on the platform, which gives me a kind of feedback whether what content I need to develop or what kind of MCQs I need to concentrate to make the learner more interactive. So these are the only major points that I covered when it comes to the traditional tutoring systems and the intelligent tutoring systems. Moving to the next aspect, where if I want to develop any intelligent tutoring system, being an academician, make sure that these components you are not missing in the intelligent tutoring system. The first one is a content model, because as we are the subject experts, we know what kind of content that we have to design, because we know what to teach. So it is a responsibility of the academician to design what to teach. Because how you are organizing your topics, how you are organizing your concepts, what kind of skills the learner will be acquiring, and what is your learning objective. Now, before starting this particular presentation, the first slide which talks about the objectives of the today's FDP. Why the objectives has to be communicated to the learners. What they are learning, they should know, and we can assess them very easy. So, if you are a academician, have a structured content repository, develop a repository for your subjects, and organize that into the sequence of different learning tasks, and then measure the students' performance. So content is the major component of the ITS. If you want to develop any ITS, so all the faculty members, whatever the subject it is, you have to develop the repository, and that repository should comprises of various concepts, skills, what they are learning, exercises, activities, any cases, everything should be there in the form of a repository. Student model, when it comes to the student model, the ITS should be in such a way that it should track the individual learner's progress. How you are tracking? Because the first lesson, the student has completed successfully the first lesson, answered to MCQs, and he understood the subject. We think that if he is able to rightly answer the 2 MCQs, we think that the student has understood the lesson 1. Now, what is happening in the student model? How many lessons are there? How many MCQs are there? Student has completed how many lessons and how many MCQs answered. Through this, we will come to know what is the student strength. And in what is the pace of learning also we will come to know, because how quickly the student is learning various lessons. Nowadays, if we see some students, because I used to wonder how students can complete certain e-courses in a days, because when it is designed for 4 weeks, how you are able to complete that in the 1 week or 2 weeks? For example, Swayam courses are there, designed for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, based on the different quadrants. They develop with all the elements, but the student is completing within a week or within a 2 weeks, able to complete the complete course. So how the faculty will come to know the gaps that are there in the, especially knowledge gaps, performance wise? Because here in the student model, especially in the ITS, why we are preferring the ITS? We are trying to tailor the learning experiences for the students. And here we are asking the learners to adopt different difficulty levels. Right? Tutoring model, I can say that this tutoring model is especially we can interpret with the pedagogical content. What kind of teaching strategy? What kind of teaching strategy that you are adopting? What kind of methods you are using? Because here there is an advantage with the traditional tutoring system. Hello. Chappan sir.
Sir?
Madam, 1 second, madam. University
Yes.
call.
Yes, yes.
Chappan sir. Yeah. Is my voice audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the disturbance.
No issues, sir.
Tutoring, especially tutoring model, when we talk about the tutoring model here, we talk about the different pedagogies that we adopt, we apply, because in the face-to-face tutoring systems, faculty may change. pedagogy based on the students' interest and pace of the learning. But how it is happening in the ITS? So it depends on the guided, what we say, guided learning. Especially in the ITS, we follow that particular approach, because whether the student is able to learn or not, how comfortably the student is learning this particular concept, in which method. See, when we have adopted different pedagogies, they may give the feedback. Okay, this is more interactive. This is most of the learners, they have given positive feedback to interactive learning. They have given more important, because a lot of surveys, even surveys also highlighted this particular point, that if you are having this interactivity in the learning pace will be fast, and the student will adopt very quickly to that environment, and there will be a progress in the learning. Even when it comes to user interface, this user interface in the ITS is nothing but the type of the environment that you are creating, how student is learning. So you have to create an environment in the ITS, how student is learning, in what way the student is learning, how you are engaging with the system. See, the student is learning through the system. So you have to develop that kind of environment where how student is engaging with the system. So you have to develop again, the system should allow the learner to interact with the educational content. And sometimes the student should be in a position to receive the feedback also. So that's why, and this is not our part, because we are all academicians. What we can do, we can design the content, we can design the student model, we can design the tutoring model, even we can design the assessment system also. But when it comes to the user interface, the third party like the software developers play an important role here. The type of the language that you are using, the type of the mechanism that you are using to have an interface, that is very important, because we are not software. The component of the content, student, tutoring, and also when it comes to the assessment, like what kind of assessment, formative or summative. Now, if we observe,
Sir, sir, am I audible to you? Manjunath sir, are you here? Manjunath sir? Participant, wait for a minute. He will be rejoining.
Madam, what happening? FDP is over?
No, ma'am. There's some technical issues are there. Sir is rejoining, ma'am. Just
Okay,
wait, ma'am.
okay,
I'm putting the message now.
Ma'am, just allow me to share, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you are co-host, sir. You can share the screen, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
I don't know why it's not loading. See,
Ma'am, my screen. Ma'am?
It's visible, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So assessment, when it comes to the assessment, the component, whatever the component that we provide, real-time evaluation is happening with the ITS. But when it comes to the evaluation, and we are not getting the complete insights. So whenever we are designing any ITS, these 5 components we have to consider. And sometimes when, say, for example, in the 4th component, user interface, when we are trying to develop the user interface, you should interact with the developer, like how you want your ITS to be. Because engaging, when learner is engaging with the system, learner is not engaging with the tutor here in the ITS. So when a learner is engaging with the system, what kind of model that you are trying to develop, and what kind of interactive elements that you are including, and how simultaneously how you are measuring the progress of the learner, and in what about the strengths, the learner strengths, and how you are assessing, and how you are communicating that to the learner. So all these elements, we have to include that when we are trying to develop the components of these ITS. And definitely we should include, if possible, include more and more interactive content in the ITS. So more interactivity, which makes him to join the courses and to take up more and more courses if you are developing through the ITS. Okay. So challenges, when it comes to the challenges, as we observe, because when we are trying to develop an ITS, because it is all about system-based models, system-based model. So initially development cost will be there and implementation, because repository, how you are going to share that repository and how you are going to provide access to that content. Because when I want to have more and more interactive content, the space, you need a lot of configurations, this even server. However, now if we observe edX, there is a beautiful course in the edX, a free course. I recommend all the academicians to take up that course, how to develop e-content, because it gives lot of inputs. If I want to develop an interactive content for ITS, it gives lot of inputs, and it gives basic idea like what elements I have to consider when developing an ITS. And integration, how you are going to integrate, because already few colleges, if we observe, they have their own LMS. Integrating with the LMS, how is it possible? Whether the third party software developers will agree with that or not. So that is also another important challenge of implementing this ITS. Still content discuss. Later I will take up questions. Limited adaptability, because if you observe most of the ITS platforms, only limited content is there. Suppose if I want to have a management course like green business, I want to have, which is unique, which is not
Sir, you're not audible, sir.
Sir,
Manjunath, sir.
he is not here, ma'am.
there.
It's there, yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My screen is shared, ma'am.
No, you
sir.
have to share it again, sir.
If you are here, limited content adaptive. Suppose if you want to develop a source, customized this. When in the idea, I have
Manjunath, sir, you are not properly audible. Sir, your voice is breaking.
Yes, sir. You can share the screen, sir. I'm making you the co-host, sir. You're the co-host. Am I audible to you, sir? Manjunath, sir?
Privacy and data security are important.
You're not audible, sir.
Uh, is now so So this particular has to be considered. Ethically, ethical review boards should be required to have this ITS in the higher education. Now, this is one particular, what I say, a model. If you want to develop an ITS, this is the way how we have to develop an ITS. First thing is that I have selected one particular subject like management. So what is my ITS subject is management, discipline is management. So I have taken certain objectives like understanding core management functions, decision-making skills, organizational behavior, applying management theory in practice. So those are the learning objectives that I have framed for the particular subject. And the type of the assessments that I have selected for the ITS, like diagnostic pre-test, whether the learner knows about any basics about the management or not. So we are pre-testing before taking the course. You know, edX popularized this concept. Before getting into the course, they will test the knowledge. Otherwise, they will ask you to prerequisite for taking up this particular course is so and so course. So that will be there. And we have to include certain formative assessments like MCQs, MCQs with the hints, MCQs with the feedback. You know, suppose a learner has not given proper response to the MCQ, how you are going to manage that? Quick reviews on that concept. Certain ITS they are providing. Say, for example, you have not answered properly. So this is the particular concept that you need to understand. You need to take back the lesson once again. And you should, ITS definitely you should have this simulated decision making exercises. See, when I am discussing about the planning, how you are planning the resources, human resources in the organization, and how much human resource is there in existing system. So like that, certain information you need to give, then only the student will be able to adopt the lessons very easily. Summative assessment, very, very important aspect that has to be given at the end of the courses, like how many MCQs, how many lessons you learned, what is the feedback, in which aspect he is very strong, in which what kind of skills he got, because we might have tested the learner in various aspects, various skills. So the ITS at the end of the course, the ITS has to give this kind of assessment to the student. Another important aspect, the feedback mechanisms, like immediate feedback on MCQs and short answer questions. So detailed feedback. This is for my subject, management subject, how an ITS can be designed. Reflective feedback. How system will give you the reflective feedback? Because when you have taken lessons from the course, so you can as a tutor, we can give the reflective feedback to the student that, you know, the teacher who developed that course will engage with the learners with the help of the forum discussions there. So that may be considered as a reflective feedback. And here, there is one beautiful practical ideas. I will be sharing that link. Please go through this. If you want to develop an ideas, definitely we should be having all these elements. I'm placing that in the chat box because I can't play. It takes a lot of time.
I had multiple choices for English test. I had a deadline approaching.
Is it? I think, is it visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible, sir.
We are studying how students learn by teaching others. To achieve this goal, we are developing an artificial intelligence teachable agent called SimStudent. In this software, you will learn to solve equations by teaching your SimStudent, which is shown as Mike in this example. Your goal is to teach Mike well enough so that he can pass the quiz. You may start by quizzing SimStudent. When you click on the quiz button, SimStudent takes the quiz. Here, your SimStudent solved the one-step equation correctly. The quiz has multiple levels. Now, you have your SimStudent working on two-step equations. This time, your SimStudent failed to solve a problem. Let's teach it how to solve this problem. First, enter a problem for SimStudent to solve. SimStudent is pre-trained and might suggest a step to solve the problem. You now provide feedback on the correctness of the step performed by SimStudent. Here, you disagree with SimStudent's suggestion to add 3 to both sides. When you disagree, SimStudent might make another attempt. When SimStudent does not know how to perform a step, it will ask you for help. Then, you can demonstrate the correct step by entering the expression on the interface. Once the problem is solved, SimStudent checks the solution by plugging it back into the original equation. That way, we can make sure that the problem is solved correctly. When you are teaching, SimStudent occasionally asks you questions. Here, SimStudent is asking why you demonstrated a particular step. You then type the answer in the chat box. SimStudent might also ask why you disagreed with the step that it suggested. When asking so, SimStudent compares the past experience with the current step and asks you why the same skill does not apply here. If you need to review math concepts, the software provides you with review resources. The unit overview explains basic concepts of equations. Examples shows typical solutions for each type of equation. You can walk through the steps and explanations. To understand why students learn by teaching, we are conducting studies in local schools. In the past 5 years, we went to 9 schools to run 6 studies with a total of more than 1,000 students, including a study in the Philippines. The results show that students' proficiency in solving equations increases by 10% after teaching SimStudent for 4 days. It was also observed that to make learning by teaching effective, students often needed adapted scaffolding on how to solve problems and how to teach. Based on this observation, we have improved our software by adding a third agent called Mr. Williams, who acts as a teacher for the student. We will continue to invest.
So hope what we have seen, actually, if you want to design any ITS, so whatever we have discussed here, all the components that are exactly, you see, it was like interacting with an auto tutor. That's why there is an animation is there, and questioning, answering. Suppose you can, like how we ask a physical teacher in the classroom in the same way, but here what is happening in the form of the chat. We are trying to ask the tutor. We are trying to interact with the system. So this is one of the, like that we have beautiful commercial ITS that are available in the market. Another one popular, very popular, is the Duolingo. Duolingo is a very popular ITS, which is basically for language learning. If you want to learn languages, then suppose I want to learn a new language. So for me, I don't find a physical tutor, so I can depend on the ITS like Duolingo, where I can learn different languages interactively. I can, because for language learning, interaction is there, required. So that is happening with the help of the ITS only. So with this, I want to end today's talk on the implementing intelligent tutoring systems. I'm sorry, due to some technical glitches, unable to connect. So I think you should consider that one.
Yes, sir.
As it is a technical issue. So any questions, if any questions in the chat box, no? Somebody asked. So I will
Participant, if
stop
you have any
sharing.
questions, you can share in the chat box.
Yeah, somebody asked the course, right? In the edX, 4 courses are available, like how to plan the e-content, how to generate the e-content, and how to write a course also. That they are giving at free of cost. All the faculty members, you can go through that one and you can complete, because when you are completing that one, you'll come to know how you can develop your own ITS. Already most of the colleges now they have their own LMS. But you can integrate that LMS with your ITS if you are having a good repository. Like Sim Student, they have a repository. If I want to learn the concept, automatically I can browse all the like related terms, concepts, that whatever we want to know about the basics, like what in the Sim Student we can observe. So all that elements we can integrate. Nowadays, even Canva LMS is there, Canvas instructor. That LMS are able to integrate almost all the tools that are available. You can start your own ITS with the help of the Canvas instructor, and your course will be there. And if you want to, you can go with the commercial usage also, because they are giving for a teacher unique ID they are giving, and through the instructor you can have your own ITS based courses. But academician, as a faculty, on our subjects, what I told, the 5 components, that 5 components, especially leaving the user interface. Now we have third party apps are available. We can integrate that third party apps in the LMS, and through that we can make our LMS like an ITS. As a faculty, see, my college will not provide me funds to have my own ITS. It's not that easy. We have to spend a lot of money on the cloud-based server required, right? IT infrastructure is required. So with all this, I would like to thank the Kristu Jayanti College and Department of Commerce for inviting me as a resource person for this particular day. I thank once again. Aarti ma'am, over to
Yes,
you,
sir.
ma'am.
Yes, Eva ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable expertise. Your insights have provided us with a deeper understanding of LMS and their 4 quadrants, how teachers can develop. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Aarti Singh to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Our strength lies in our difference. Our diverse workforce fosters innovation, creativity, and a dynamic work environment. Good afternoon, one and all present here. As we come to the end of this insightful session of FDP on implementing intelligent tutoring system in modern classrooms, it's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath for being a part of this wonderful FDP and giving his insightful thoughts on the session. I would like to thank Head Department of Commerce, Dr. Vijay Kumar R, for being the support system for the conduction of this FDP. Thank you, sir. I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the faculty coordinators for FDP. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined the session today. Thank you once again for your support and participation. Everyone, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear participants, you can again join with the same link tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Try to be just 10 minutes before the session. We'll be winding up the session now.